Sometimes motivation meets you after movement begins. This matters because if you are constantly waiting to feel motivated, you may stay stuck much longer than you need to. Let's talk about starting small, and I mean truly small. The kind of small that your brain is less likely to resist because we have to break it down even further, sometimes to be attainable. Welcome to the Blossom Mindset, a space for growth, reflection, and taking intentional steps towards the life that you want to create. I am your host, Lindsay, a behavior analyst, certified clinical trauma specialist, author, and entrepreneur. This podcast is here to support you in building self-awareness, reconnecting with your values, and moving forward with more clarity and intention. Together, we'll explore mindset shifts, practical tools, and meaningful conversations to help you work through challenges, realign when life feels off, and continue growing in ways that truly matter. As a gentle reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for any mental health or behavioral health treatment. I'm so grateful you are here and ready to start your personal growth journey. Let's get started. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blossom Mindset. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. I know my nervous system is starting to feel a bit more refreshed and regulated after some much needed time, scheduled time to regulate and recharge. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most frustrating things in experiences when you are trying to grow, and that is knowing what really matters to you, but you still feel like you cannot get yourself to start. Even when we're regulated, it can sometimes still be very difficult to find the motivation to move forward, create, and do. You may care, you know you want the results, you know the thing that would support you, and yet you still keep putting it off. I've been there, still do it, and it can be frustrating for sure. And sometimes it doesn't even mean that the motivation is not there. And if you have a high achieving mindset, that can also come with a lot of shame. I know I've been there plenty of times with similar thoughts of, why am I just not doing it? Why do I need so much effort to begin? Why do I keep waiting for the right mood or the right burst of energy? Why can't I just get it done? So I want to normalize something today, and that is starting is often the hardest part. I work through this with many coaching clients too. It is just getting started. And once you get started, you can build that momentum. But it's often even harder to get started, especially when you are overwhelmed, dysregulated, mentally overloaded, disconnected from your capacity, and not to mention if you also have ADHD. And that's where motivation can get very misunderstood. A lot of people think that motivation is what is going to create that action, but often that action is what creates that motivation, meaning you may not feel fully ready before you begin, you may not feel inspired before you take the step, and you may not feel naturally energized at the start. And there's going to be times where you may feel motivated, but you just can't get started. Sometimes that motivation is going to meet you after the movement begins. This matters because if you are constantly waiting to feel motivated, you may stay stuck much longer if you need to. You're waiting for that spark, you're waiting to get up and go, you're waiting until that motivation kicks in. Even if you are big into fitness and you're like, oh, I'll just go later, I don't want to go to the gym. Well, what if I just wait? I need to be motivated. Newsflash, honestly, sometimes you may not feel motivated. You just have to do it. And again, I talk about this with a lot of coaching clients. You may not feel motivated, or you may feel motivated but not have that energy to keep going. Sometimes motivation meets you after movement begins. And this matters because if you're constantly waiting to feel motivated, you may stay stuck much longer than you need to. Let's talk about starting small. And I mean truly small. The kind of small that your brain is less likely to resist because we break it down even further, sometimes to be attainable. And some examples of that are opening the document, writing one sentence. I mean, honestly, even a word. Get a word down on a piece of paper. Stand up. If you are like, I need to go do something, I'm ready to go to the gym, and you're sitting down on the couch, stand up. That is one small step. And it can be more attainable than saying, I need to be at the gym. Well, maybe you stand up and you go for a walk instead, and you're still moving forward towards your goals. It's putting on that shoe, putting on that sock, walking for 5 minutes, answering one email. You say you've got 25 emails, answering one, and that's a small step. Maybe even setting a timer for 10 minutes to get up and do whatever you need to get done. Set that timer for 10 minutes and say, I'm going to accomplish different tasks in the 10 minutes. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's on my to-do list. For me right now, unpacking boxes after moving. If I said, I'm going to unpack all these boxes, I need to get it all done today. Is that attainable? Maybe not. It feels overwhelming. You see all the stacks of boxes and it's like, no, I don't want to do this. Where do I even start? Your attainable step might be unpacking one box instead of expecting yourself to unpack every single box. Another step could be making one small decision or even just taking a step forward, reaching for something that you need to, moving in the direction of where you need to go. If you are like, well, I need to go shower. Well, don't go walk in the opposite direction, walk towards the shower. Even if you do something else, walk towards where you need to go because that is going to help gain that momentum and make that task feel a little bit more attainable. And these actions can seem unimpressive, especially when you are ambitious. They can sometimes feel, that's too small to count. That's not helpful. That doesn't matter. But that's exactly why they can work sometimes, because these small steps can lower the threat level and make beginning the task or action feel safer. They reduce the pressure your nervous system actually feels around that task. Again, thinking of the boxes, if I was like, I have to unpack this entire apartment in one night, my nervous system is going to shut down. That does not feel attainable. But if I say, okay, I'm going to start with one, cool. I gain that motivation. I gain that reinforcement because I just completed a task, and I most likely still have that momentum to keep going. And that's where once you begin, you can create that momentum. It's not always instantly, it's not always super dramatic, but you may have enough to continue and you may not. But sometimes that is the difference between staying in that like task paralysis and re-entering and reconnecting into your life in the present moment. And sometimes then you have the momentum to keep going and doing longer than you originally planned. Going back to that 10-minute timer, it's a strategy I use very often. I'll set a timer just to get that momentum to keep going or get started with a task. And often I find myself repeating that timer. Let's repeat it again. Let's go another 10 minutes. Check in with my body. I still have enough momentum. Let's keep going. And I end up accomplishing a lot more. And again, it felt very minuscule. It's like, oh, that's so small. 10 minutes is nothing. But that 10 minutes may have turned into an hour of productivity or an hour and a half. It was just that getting started with a small step that is what I needed to do or what you may need to do. And sometimes I think we can self-sabotage ourselves a little bit with those small starts because they're so attached to that big proof, or we need to have or accomplish something big in order to feel like we did it or we did enough. Maybe you want that routine to be perfect, that launch to be polished, the morning to be ideal, the habit to be consistent immediately, and the plan to already look successful. But life doesn't work that way, and regulated growth definitely does not look that way. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. We just have to do it. And sometimes that regulated growth can humble you at first. It can look like beginning before it actually feels impressive, like you did a lot. Again, it's getting started, moving your body, moving in that direction, and it can feel so silly at first. And I have some coaching clients who have expressed that using lists or time blocking or breaking it down can feel uncomfortable. Like that may feel childish, or I should be doing this simple thing. I should be doing these simple tasks. But once that acceptance mindset hits, they often find that these strategies are working, and it may have just been that initial avoidance of getting started. That initial avoidance can often be the most challenging thing. Just get started. Well, we think about that of just get started. Oh, it's so easy. You should be doing that. Whether you're telling yourself that or someone else is telling you that. But sometimes it's not that easy. So we have to start small and attainable because it trains our mind to gain that hit of dopamine, that reinforcement. I did it. Cool. Cross it off. I did it. I got this. Let's keep going. An hour and a half later, you're like, whoa, I did all of these things that I didn't think I thought I was able to do because I got started. Versus you sit and you doom scroll and you think about it and you think about it and you're like, well, I need to do this. And you continue to think, and 2 hours later, you're still stuck in the doom scroll. You didn't actually do it. There's a difference between thinking and acting. And again, sometimes that motivation is not going to be there to act, but you have to do it anyway. And we also can have those accountability partners. So don't forget about those accountability partners that we talked about in some of the earlier episodes. And all of this is how you build trust with your nervous system too. Every time you follow through on an action, you reinforce yourself intrinsically as well. It doesn't have to be you get a piece of candy every time you complete a task. Sometimes that task completion can serve as a reinforcer of, I did it. Great, I got this. You show your brain and body that movement forward is possible. And at the same time, you begin to reduce that story that you are stuck forever, that you're stuck doom scrolling, that you can't do this, that you're never going to be able to get the things you want done, that you're never going to be able to create that dream that you are working towards. You also reinforce the identity of someone who can return to herself or himself. You are going back to who you are at the core. And that is so important. And it matters for your dream life too that you're working and living towards, because dreams are not built in these giant rare moments. They're built in ordinary repeated choices every day, even reframing that dream life to the current life, because sometimes that word of like dream can feel attainable, that word dream can feel unattainable. Oh, it's a dream. I'm never going to be able to get there. No, you're working through it every day with repeated choices and habits and routines and creating that in this present moment. We can't control the future, but we can work through it in this present moment and work towards where we want to go. And that could look like, sending those emails, setting those boundaries, going to the gym and working out, submitting an application for this job that you really want, attending the therapy or coaching session for extra support, posting that content. I know that is something that I have been very behind with, and I have to accept that that's okay. It's not that I'm not motivated to do it. The cup has not been filled for that yet. Pausing just at any given moment, being able to say no, going for that walk, engaging in some of the self-care tasks like journaling or taking care of your body, nourishing your body and your mind and your soul. That is all important. Asking for that support and even resetting yourself, whatever that looks like for you. Because everything you do counts. It moves you in a direction. Now, it's going to be up to you on which direction you want to move towards, because you could stay stuck and you're moving away from the direction you really want to go. Or you could do those small actions and they will all add up over time. And hopefully, if they're the right actions, will move you in the direction that you want to go. And it still brings it back. it is a choice. It is your choice. You are choosing which direction you are headed. So, are you going to stay stuck, doom scrolling, avoiding, procrastinating when you don't have that motivation? Or even when you don't have that motivation, are you still going to keep moving forward, taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself, completing those tasks, creating what you want to create and what you envision? And one of the strategies you can use with all of this is your mindset and how you frame it to yourself. Instead of, I have to go to the gym. I need to get the dishes done. Say, I'm going to go to the gym right now. I'm going to go get the dishes done. And not just think about it, but also pair your body actions with it. Like we talked about at the beginning, move forward, walk towards that shower, walk towards the sink, stand up, reach for what you need because that action matters. Move towards what you need to in those moments to complete those tasks that are on your mind. It's not just, I'm going to think about it or I'm thinking about it, I'll do it later, I need to do this. It's, I'm doing this right now. In the moment when you are thinking about it right now. I could sit here and think, I need to unpack all these boxes tonight. Or I could say, I'm going to unpack one box right now while also moving towards that box and grabbing the box, opening it up, and starting to put things away. And again, you may not want to do all of these things or even feel motivated. But sometimes that motivation, again, is just not going to be enough. You may feel motivated and it's not going to be enough. That action is what is going to move you forward. So if motivation has been really low lately, I want you to stop beating yourself up over it. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, what is the smallest possible action that may feel so silly to do right now that would still count as care for the life that I want, that I need to do in this present moment? That question is more compassionate, it's more practical, as silly as it seems, as small as it seems, and it keeps you moving. Think of it like a staircase. You can't reach the top of the staircase without doing all the little steps. You may need to break it down into a task analysis. If you think, I need to clean the bathroom, okay, that's at the top of the staircase. How many steps is there to cleaning the bathroom? You need to get the cleaner. You need to wipe down the sink. You need to get the toilet brush. You need to clean the toilet. You need to shake out the rugs. You need to vacuum the floor. There are so many different tasks, and it can feel so overwhelming to get started when you think in the back of your mind, this one task of cleaning the bathroom is really 25 smaller tasks in there. And that could be where you're dreading doing it and having a difficult time getting started. So break it down as many steps as you need. If you're still struggling, break it down even further. Get that accountability partner in there because you do not need to have this dramatic breakthrough. You just need one honest beginning of getting started. Take one small step forward in the direction that you want to go and keep blossoming into your fullest potential. Thank you for joining in on this episode of The Blossom Mindset with me. I hope that our discussion has inspired you to take actionable steps towards blossoming into your fullest potential. Don't forget, the best way to show your support is by liking, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review on this podcast. Feel free to drop any ideas for future podcast topics by commenting on my most recent Instagram post of this episode. If you are interested in additional resources or one-to-one coaching, check out our website linked in the show notes. I am so proud of you. By tuning in and listening, you just took one small, actionable step forward towards blossoming into your fullest potential.